In one of my recently published videos, I announced I am making it my goal in 2024 to build a $1 million online business by myself. As part of that video, I talked about how I am in the process of creating 6 different but interconnected income streams in order to achieve this massive goal. Those 6 income streams involve a digital consulting agency, a free business builder collaboration program with digital creators, social media content which can be broken down into 2 subcategories, affiliate marketing and ad revenue, as well as creating and selling both online courses and ebooks. In my previous video, I brought you behind the scenes of building my 2 digital consulting agencies. So if you want to see how I'm putting those together, then definitely check out that video. In this video, we are diving into part 2 of behind the scenes, showing you the process that I'm following to automate the planning, outlining, and creation of my entire content marketing strategy to include all of the content for my social media platforms, my online courses, and my ebooks. If you are new to the channel, then welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I'm glad you are here. So before we get to the how, a very important piece of information to know is the why. Why am I focusing so heavily on a content marketing strategy, and why is content so important? You could probably ask 1,000 different entrepreneurs this question and get 1,000 different answers, but my thought process is a strategic and well-rounded content marketing strategy kills 3 birds with 1 stone. Let me explain. First thing that this kind of tackles is audience and authority building. Building an audience and establishing authority are at the heart of a good content strategy. By consistently delivering valuable and relevant content, I have seen firsthand how it can help build a loyal following. But it is not just about getting likes or shares, it's about becoming a trusted voice and authority in your niche. So when people start seeing your content, finding it useful, they start seeing you as an expert, which makes you more authoritative and therefore more likely to make more sales, get more clients, sell more products. And then it also doesn't hurt that you have the ability to create an engaged audience and followers who are interested in what you have to say and what you have to offer down the road. Stone number 2 is traffic and lead generation. So there are 4 key components to a successful online passive income business, and they are a product or service, aka something to sell, a lead magnet or incentive, aka value to give, a traffic source, aka people to buy whatever it is that you're selling, and last but not least, a sales funnel or a system to automate the entire process. And while all 4 of these components are equally important, there is one in particular that requires much more work than the others do, and that's because it's the only one that has to be worked on consistently, and that is your traffic source. When it comes to building a product and a digital product, you only have to do that once. When it comes to building a lead magnet, you only have to do that once. When it comes to building your automated sales funnel, you only have to do that once. When it comes to generating your traffic, that is something that you have to work on consistently in order to continue keeping that system running. If you think about an online passive income system like a clock, then your digital product, your lead magnet, and your sales funnel would be considered the gears that are turning in the background to keep the clock ticking. Whereas your traffic could be considered to be the battery that gives everything the energy to keep it running. Just like without a battery in a clock, without traffic, every other component is useless. This is where content creation comes into play. Each piece of content is like a beacon that draws potential customers to your site or social media profiles, which in turn act as a gateway to your products, your services, your lead magnets, and ultimately your sales funnel. But it's more than just about numbers. It's about attracting the right people, those who are genuinely interested in not only your product or services, but also how you can help them, what you have to offer. So by creating content that's targeted towards specific questions or problems or obstacles that your audience has, you're not only just getting visitors, but you're attracting potential leads. And when nurtured correctly, these leads can turn into paying customers, making your content an invaluable tool and resource for the growth of your business. Last but not least, we have an additional revenue stream. So as I mentioned in my 6 different streams of income that I'm working on building right now, a big one is content creation or social media content, which can be broken down into 2 subcategories, being ad revenue or affiliate marketing. A well-planned and value-focused content strategy opens the doors to additional revenue stream, because it's not just about necessarily selling products or services directly, but it's about the indirect benefits that can come from creating helpful social media affiliate content. For example, creating videos on YouTube, making revenue once you meet their minimum requirements. You can make ad revenue on your YouTube videos. Or if you use products and services in the process of whatever it is that you do, for example, one of the things that I do is I host websites, right? And the website host that I use is SiteGround. I love SiteGround. They are the best hosting company I've ever used from a web hosting perspective. Super user-friendly, super easy, great support, great systems. So I, as a person who does web design and talks about web design, promote them, and I am an affiliate for them. So if you need web hosting, use the link in the description. That is an affiliate link. So anytime somebody uses my affiliate link, I earn a commission from that sale. These are additional ways that you can turn your content into income streams, just like I can say, use the link in the description below. I also have a blog article on my website which talks about SiteGround and goes into SiteGround and has a link there, so any traffic that goes to my website uses that link to sign up for web hosting. Similar thing, I get affiliate commissions from those links as well. So that is how you can also use content to create additional income streams. And as someone who values time above all else, accomplishing multiple goals simultaneously without having to put in extra work is gold. So there are three main tools that I am using in order to make my content creation, outlining, planning, production, distribution process, the entire thing, as automated and as seamless and as fast and easy as possible. One, ChatGPT for planning, researching, outlining, and creating my initial drafts. Two, Trello for organizing and scheduling my content. And then three, Zapier, which is for automating my creation flow as well as my distribution process. First, we're going to look at ChatGPT. So I'm using ChatGPT for planning, researching, and outlining my content marketing strategy. When it comes to my various digital content pieces, there are three different types of content that I'm focusing on creating: social media, online courses, and ebooks. Now, with that being said, the process that I'm following to create all of those is pretty much the same for each of them. I'm basically looking at each of them like a class, right? A course, like a college course or a book or an online course. And I'm thinking about them from the idea of chapters or sections. This is pretty much the step-by-step process that I'm using with ChatGPT to plan, research, and outline my content. So step one, I started thinking about the main topic I wanted to create content around, and more specifically, what goal I wanted to help someone achieve. So this first one, like I wrote here, I plan on creating several mini courses to teach my blog readers and YouTube viewers how to do various things relating to an online business, such as how to build a WordPress website, how to do video editing, how to use ChatGPT to build digital products, how to launch a digital product on Kartra, how to stay organized using Trello, right? These are all overarching ideas. Each of these can be broken down into multiple videos within each one. So using my topic and goal, I then continued on, asked ChatGPT to create an outline or a syllabus for a course that would help teach someone how to achieve that respective goal. So for example, can you please outline a course syllabus for each of these ideas, right? And so then it generated me a course syllabus for teaching people how to build a WordPress website, how to do video editing, how to use Trello, etc. After ChatGPT created an outline, I then began detailing each point of the outline with subtopics. So this just involved, again, me asking ChatGPT for research articles, case studies, and other relevant information for each section of the outline to further develop and enrich the content. I then used it to create sections, create body content for each of those outlines, and then copied and pasted all the relevant info I liked from each one into Google Docs. From that point, I have my basic drafts and began to refine and edit the gathered materials into a cohesive structure, and then continued using ChatGPT to ask for improvements, asking for additional information, and building on top of it to make it my own. I use ChatGPT to write a rough draft of the articles, and then with my first drafts complete for each one, basically I'm now circling back and filling in all of the missing pieces or putting in my own personal stories, my own personal experience, my own personal frameworks, stuff like that. With that being said, if you want to see the entire ChatGPT conversation that I had, because obviously I'm only showing bits and pieces in this video, I will leave a link down in the description as well as on my website where you can actually go see the entire ChatGPT conversation that I had, so you can see my input and output and how I went back and forth with that. So this is the same process I'm following over and over again for all of my content, for all of my books, for all of my online courses, anything that I'm building from a instructional standpoint. I am using this kind of process over and over over again to create outlines and then fill in those outlines, those subsections or main topics to create videos and sub-videos. Next, we're going to move on to Trello. So I am using Trello to organize and schedule my online content. Trello has been an incredible tool for destroying my procrastination, increasing my productivity, and getting super organized. I have 2 videos coming out after this video about how to use Trello, how I'm using Trello, diving into that, as well as showing you how to set up your own. So if you're interested in learning how to use Trello in the same way that I am, then definitely hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn your notifications on so that you get notified when those videos come out. But with that being said, Trello has changed my life from an organization and productivity standpoint. Once I had my content marketing strategy planned and outlined, knew exactly what kind of content I wanted to make over the next few months, the next big thing I started focusing on was creating a schedule for that content. So in order for me to not get overwhelmed or disorganized or inundated with tasks, I am a very visual person. I have to visually see how I have everything set up. And this is where one of the great things about Trello comes into play. It just allows you to get really organized, see how everything's connected, and put in a calendar view so you can start setting deadlines or specific dates where specific content is going to come out, and then I can see it from that visual perspective. So if you're unfamiliar with Trello, let me give you the lowdown. It is a super handy web-based tool for managing just about every aspect of your projects. It's essentially a big digital board that you can stick all of your tasks on. If you picture like a big board on your wall with a bunch of sticky notes, except way cooler. And within each board, you can set up different columns, which are called lists, that represent each stage of your project, right? And then you make cards, aka the sticky notes, within each of those lists that represent each of your tasks. If you think of the lists, you think of it like your to-do list, your doing list, and your done list, right? It's the very basic version of it. And then so in your to-do list, you would put all of your little sticky notes, they're called cards. And then as you begin working on those individual pieces, you just drag and drop them into your doing list so you know what you're actively working on at any time. And then when a project or when a task is done, you move it from the doing list to the done list. That's in a very basic form, that's pretty much how it works. What makes it super helpful is, like I said, you can shuffle the cards around, you can add deadlines, you can throw in links or files, you can automate processes based on actions and checklists and stuff like that. It's basically like having your entire project in one place, and it is ridiculously easy to use. And the more you get used to it, the more powerful it becomes. It has been a game changer for keeping my work organized and not feeling overwhelmed. And the best part about it is that it is free. So if you struggle with overwhelm, disorganization, procrastination, do yourself a favor and check it out. You will thank me later, trust me. So with that being said, just to give you a brief overview of like my Trello content creation workflow explained. I'm gonna go way more in depth in the next videos with this, but so within your Trello, you have, like I said, what are called boards. And those can be used for different things based on your personal flow and staying organized. So for example, I have one board called my task manager, which is literally just where I keep all of my various and ever-changing daily, weekly, and monthly tasks, right? Then I have another board called my content calendar, which is designed specifically for me to plan, schedule, and track all of the different aspects of my content creation, outlining, scheduling, planning, distributing my various online content on my various platforms. So just to give you an example, I'll break down my content calendar board real quick to show you exactly how I have it set up, as well as how I use it to keep my content marketing strategy organized and in flow. So in my content calendar board, first I have 9 lists. And those lists are my big content outline, my genius idea bank, my researching and outlining list, in production, repurposing, ready to publish, pulling micro content, promoting and sharing, and done. And this is just like my workflow. So step 1, I basically just started by populating the big content outlines list with all of my overarching content that I want to create, right? Those playlists or those micro courses I was talking about. For example, I have a playlist 1, it's called Trello for Beginners. So it's gonna be multiple videos about Trello. Those are the ones I was just talking about a few minutes ago. Playlist 2 is WordPress for Beginners series, right? So this is gonna be 4, 5, 6 videos that teaches somebody from start to finish how to build an entirely done WordPress website from scratch. So that might have multiple videos like how to get your hosting and your domain name, how to install WordPress, how to add your plugins and themes, how to set up your pages using Elementor, stuff like that. So playlist 3, ChatGPT for Beginners series. This is going to be several videos about using ChatGPT to build an online business. So these are just different playlists or mini courses that represent multiple videos. So that's what I have in my big content outlines. Then each of those has multiple videos. So that is where I then go into my Genius Idea bank, which is the next list, and in there I create a card for every single video that I'm going to make. In my checklist, for example, in my Trello for Beginners series, I have video 1, how I destroyed my procrastination using this free productivity tool. That's the next video that's coming out. And then the video after that's coming out is setting up Trello automations for ultimate productivity. So that's gonna be like an advanced video. Each one of those has a card that goes into my Genius Idea bank. You don't have to do it this way. This is just the way my mind works. I like to think of things from a big picture overview and then break it down a little bit, until eventually I have just one specific task for everything to do. You can do it however works best for you. So one of the things that Trello has is called power-ups. One of the power-ups I use is called the calendar power-up. And this allows me to set due dates for each of my content pieces and then see them on a calendar so I can visually understand, oh, this is the next piece of content I have coming out, or this is the next piece of content to work on. But once I got all of these set up, all of these organized, then it's just a process of going the list. So I will start a video being in the Genius Idea Bank. When it's time to start working on it, I move it from the Genius Idea Bank to the researching and outlining list. And this is the crazy thing about where the automation, the power of automation really comes into play, both from a Trello perspective, but then also from our third tool, which we're gonna get into in a minute. So anytime I move a card from my Genius Idea Bank to the researching and outlining, the first thing that happens is Trello has an automation to where it adds a checklist to that card so that I know what I need for that section. Now, once I have finished completing all of the items in that checklist, another automation happens that automatically moves it from the researching and outlining list to the in production list, which is the next phase in my content creation cycle. And then again, once it gets moved over into that new list, a new checklist is generated based on what I need to accomplish within that phase. And so this process happens over and over again as I check things off, and it moves down the line from left to right as bits and pieces of the different phases of the content move on from one stage to the next. When it comes to increasing productivity and destroying procrastination, Trello is without a doubt one of the greatest tools I have added to my arsenal. Between keeping me organized and combined with its built-in automations, like I just mentioned, it makes the process of content creation a breeze from start to finish because you don't have to think about where you are at any given time. It just brings you along the flow. Last but not least, we have Zapier. Time is our most valuable asset, right? So when it comes to making large amounts of revenue, one of the most important things that we can do is learn to separate our time from our income. And that is done by breaking away from the time for money exchange. So this is the true power of automation. The more things that you can automate, the more time you have to do higher value tasks. Zapier is incredible because it allows you to connect tons of different platforms to each other and then create what's called if-then statements, meaning when this thing happens over here, do this thing over here. It has what's called a trigger and an action. So anytime a trigger happens, some action somewhere else also happens. So for example, on Zapier it's called a zap, which is just another word for an automation. One of the zaps that I have set up is with my digital consulting agency, Solomade. So anytime a new customer subscribes to my digital consulting agency, a few things happen. Zapier is watching for that to happen. So when I get a new subscriber, that's the trigger. And then the action is it creates a new board in my Trello account for that customer. And then it also sends that new customer an email with information and access to their Trello board so they can begin submitting requests and I can start working with them. So that's just a very simple example. But from my content creation perspective, this is where things get really crazy. Some of the automations happening are within Trello, right? Those new checklists anytime I move a card from one to another. However, I have additional automations happening in Zapier because Zapier allows me to not only connect to Trello, but to also connect to ChatGPT. And furthermore, Zapier can pass information between other apps. And so what do I mean by that? Right now, the way I have it set up is that when a card is moved from the Genius Idea Bank to the researching and outlining list, it's doing a couple things. One, Trello is doing that automated checklist thing, but then Zapier is also sending a message to ChatGPT that says, hey, create an outline for this article based on this title. And then not only is it telling that to ChatGPT, ChatGPT will generate that content, but then turn around around and send that content back to Zapier, and then Zapier will put that into the description of my card. As soon as I move it from the Genius Idea Bank into researching and outlining, immediately I have a generated outline, content outline, that I can then start to work on. The same way I have the checklist set up, I have this process set up for multiple stages. Just like moving from Genius Idea Bank to researching and outlining is a trigger, moving from researching and outlining to in production is also a trigger. Same setup. When it moves from that one to the next, then it takes that outline that was generated by ChatGPT, sends that outline back to ChatGPT and says, generate a rough draft article using this outline, and then turns around, and I also have it connected to my Google Drive, so that it then creates a document in my Google Drive, puts the rough draft article in there, and then attaches that file to the Trello card. So literally just from me moving the card a few spots, I have an entire outline generated, I have an entire first draft generated, I have a bunch of content ready to go, and then I can go in there, open up the document in my Google Drive, edit it the way I want to edit it, and then upload it to my website as a blog post, use it as a script for a YouTube video like I'm doing right now. And then furthermore, the last setup I have is then taking that article that was generated and put to my Google Drive. I have a folder within my Google Drive that once a document gets moved into there, so I will manually just go drag and drop and put it in there. As soon as I do that, another zap happens where Zapier will see that document uploaded. It will send that information from that document to ChatGPT and have ChatGPT generate key points, highlights, basically like a summary of the entire article, and then create more cards in my micro content idea bank in order for me to use as short forms. So whether it be tweets, Facebook posts, Instagram Reels, TikToks, right? So this process is just constantly automatically flowing. There are automations like these set up throughout every stage of my process across multiple apps, websites, and platforms. And this makes it so that not only do I not have to spend time manually researching, copying and pasting, writing, and other time-consuming tasks, but I also don't have to jump between a bunch of windows going back and forth, even as somebody who has multiple monitors, like I've got a big monitor over here, I got two monitors over here, I got my laptop over here. It's still a pain, right? So it takes time to go from one to one to one. With this setup, I'm able to have everything happening within my Trello account and having all of my content within my Trello account so that I can just operate in that one location without having to jump back and forth between multiple screens. Using Zapier in combination with ChatGPT and Trello has, without a doubt, at least 10x, if not 20, 30, 40x my productivity and my content creation, while simultaneously keeping me more organized than I have ever been in my entire life. So there you have it. The 3 insanely powerful tools that I am using to automate my entire content planning, creation, production, and distribution system. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope it has opened your eyes to the incredible possibilities that can come from combining the power of automation with your personal and business goals. I am not only saving a ton of time and getting way more work done, but I also am enhancing the quality and reach of my content. This strategy, I totally believe, is 100% going to play a very crucial role in helping me towards my goal of this year building a $1 million solo online business. And just like having a plan and a strategy is important, so is staying organized and on track. With that being said, my next video is going to be my introduction to Trello, so definitely hit like, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for that video. You are not going to want to miss it. And if you would like to learn the step-by-step process of actually how to set this up for yourself, you are definitely going to want to check out zylercade.com. Go take my free workshop where I show you literally how to go and build this entire system for yourself to 10, 20, 30x your content creation and skyrocket your productivity. With that being said, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.